The screaming didn't sound human. It echoed through the walls of the old Route 66 motel, rattling the thin windows, shaking dust from the ceiling. When Emma burst out of room 12, she saw something that froze her blood. A man was being dragged across the parking lot by nothing. No hands, no ropes, no person. His heels scraped the ground, leaving long lines in the dirt as he clawed desperately at the pavement. His face twisted toward Emma, eyes wild with terror. "Help me. Please, don't let it take me." Then, right in front of her, the man slid underneath the motel's faded vending machine as if the ground swallowed him whole. He disappeared. The screaming stopped instantly. Emma's breath caught in her throat. Lightning flashed, lighting up the empty lot. The whole place fell silent. She took one shaky step backward, heart pounding. And then the door of room 6, 2 doors down, slowly creaked open by itself. Inside was pure darkness. That's where the chapter cliffhanger ends. And now we move back to how everything started earlier that day. Emma Parker was driving across the country to visit her brother in New Mexico. She was tired, exhausted, and her phone GPS kept losing signal. After hours on the desert road, she finally saw it, a flickering neon sign that read, "Sunset Motel, vacancy." The place didn't look terrible at first. Old, yes. Faded, yes. But she was too tired to keep driving. She pulled in, killed the engine, and checked her phone. No service. Not even one bar. Inside the motel office, an elderly man sat behind the counter. His name tag read Frank. He didn't smile, didn't blink much, didn't even greet her at first. He just stared at her like he was waiting for her to say something she didn't know. "One room?" Emma asked. Frank nodded slowly. "Room 12. Okay, do you need my ID?" "No," he said, handing her a key without looking up. "Just don't go outside after midnight." Emma laughed awkwardly. "Why not?" Frank's eyes finally flicked up. "Things walk around here at night." She froze. He didn't say it like a joke. He said it like a warning. But Emma was too tired to care. She took the key and headed to her room. Room 12 smelled dusty, like it hadn't been opened in months. The wallpaper was peeling, the TV was older than she was, and the bathroom light buzzed like a dying bee. She noticed something strange too. Every mirror in the room was covered with a thin sheet of fog, like someone had breathed on them recently. She wiped it with her sleeve. Behind her reflection, something moved. A shadow. Tall. Thin. Standing in the corner of the room. Emma spun around. Nothing there. Her heart raced. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe she imagined it. She locked the door, pulled the curtains tight, and tried to sleep. The bed springs squeaked every time she breathed. At 11:58 p.m., she woke up suddenly. Someone was walking outside her room. Slow footsteps. Dragging footsteps. They moved from one door to the next, pausing at each room. She held her breath. The footsteps reached her door and stopped. She heard breathing. Deep. Slow. Not human. Something pressed against her door, like a heavy body leaning on it. Emma covered her mouth, afraid to make a sound. Then she heard a whisper right next to her ear, even though nobody was inside the room. "Don't open the door." She curled up in the corner, terrified. A minute later, another sound echoed down the hallway. A scream. A man shouting. Running. Begging. Emma cracked open her curtains just an inch, and that's when she saw it. A man being dragged across the parking lot by invisible hands, his fingers digging into the ground as he tried to stop himself. His mouth opened wide in terror, but no sound came out anymore. Then he vanished under the vending machine. Emma stumbled back, shaking, chest tight. Before she could move, before she could think, the door of room 6 slowly creaked open. The darkness inside wasn't normal darkness. It was thicker, alive, waiting for her. Emma took a step back, whispering, "Please, no." Then something stepped into the doorway, but she couldn't see its face, only its long, twisted shadow reaching toward her. Emma froze as the shadow stretched across the concrete, reaching out of room 6 like a long arm searching blindly for her. The darkness inside the room didn't move normally. It pulsed, like something inside was breathing. She stumbled backward until her spine hit the wall of room 12. "Please, please," she whispered, not even sure who she was talking to. The shadow twitched. Then it retracted instantly, snapping back into the room as if something yanked it away. The door slammed shut with a violent bang that echoed through the entire motel. Emma didn't wait. She ran straight to the office, barefoot, breathing hard. The metal bell on the counter jingled loudly as she pushed inside. "Frank, the old motel manager, was sitting in the dark office, staring at a black and white security monitor. When he finally looked up at her, he wasn't surprised at all. "You saw it," he said calmly, like he'd been waiting. Emma nodded, shaking. What happened to that man? Something dragged him, under the machine. It just pulled him in. Frank raised his hand, stopping her. "Sit down." "I'm not sitting. I'm leaving. Right now." "You can't," Frank said quietly. "Not until sunrise." Emma felt her knees weaken. "Why not?" He turned the security monitor toward her. Room 12's door, her door, was wide open on the screen. Not cracked, not pushed. Wide. Open. "I locked it," Emma whispered. Frank nodded. "They don't care about locks." Emma backed away from the monitor. "What is this place? What's happening here?" Frank hesitated, the first hint of fear crossing his face. This motel was built on a stretch of land Route 66 had to reroute around. People thought it was because of bad soil. But it wasn't. Something was found here. Something old. Something buried. Emma's stomach twisted. "What kind of something?" Frank looked at her with tired eyes. "A well." Well." He nodded. "A deep one. The workers found skeletons at the bottom. But not human skeletons." Emma shook her head. "No. This is insane." "Believe what you want," Frank said, voice tight. "But they come out at night. Always have. They look for anyone who stays on this land after midnight." Emma leaned against the counter. "Then why run this place? Why let people stay here at all?" Frank's jaw clenched. "Because if no one stays, they go looking farther." The room fell silent. Then the office lights flickered. The monitor screen went static. Frank slammed a hand on the desk. "They are out." Emma felt her heartbeat spike. "We need to get out of here. You said we can't leave, but we can try. Please, Frank, I'm not staying here." Frank opened a drawer and pulled out an old metal flashlight. "Fine. But if you go outside, keep your back against a wall. Don't let them behind you. They only take from behind." Emma grabbed the flashlight with trembling hands. "Let's go." They stepped toward the door, but before Frank could turn the knob, something banged on the roof. Hard. Dust rained from the ceiling tiles. The lights flickered again. Emma whispered, "What was that?" Frank lifted a shaking finger, pointing to the ceiling. "They are moving." Another bang. Then another, faster. Louder. Like something crawling across the motel roof. Frank grabbed Emma's arm. "Get down." They ducked just as a long black arm, thin, bony, and impossibly stretched, shot down through a crack in the ceiling, swiping at the air where Emma had been standing. Emma screamed. The arm withdrew instantly, sliding back into the cracks like a snake disappearing underground. Frank pulled Emma toward the back door. "Change of plan. We run. Now." They burst out behind the office into the cool night air, the flashlight beam shaking wildly as Emma pointed it around. The parking lot was unnervingly silent. Then the vending machine rattled. Hard, like something underneath it wanted out. Frank whispered, "Don't look. Just move." But Emma couldn't help it. She looked. Something pale was crawling from beneath the machine. A figure, thin, folded wrong, dragging itself with jerky movements. Its head turned toward her, mouth painfully wide. Emma covered her mouth, terrified. Frank grabbed her wrist. "Run." They sprinted across the lot toward the road, Route 66 glowing faintly under the moon. Emma could taste dust and fear with every breath. Just as they reached the edge of the property line, Frank stopped so suddenly Emma collided with him. A tall shadow stood in the middle of the road. Not moving, not breathing, just watching. Then, it took one slow step forward. Frank whispered, voice trembling, "That's the first one. The one that came from the well." Emma tightened her grip on the flashlight. The shadow moved closer, and from behind them, they heard the motel doors slam open one by one. Something was coming out of every room. All of them. Emma spun around, flashlight trembling in her hand as every motel room door slammed open at the same time. Every single one. Room 1. Room 2. Room 3. The doors banged against the walls so loudly the whole building seemed to shake. One by one, thin figures stepped into the doorways. Pale. Wrong-shaped. Bent in ways that didn't match anything human. Some crawled. Some slithered out on their bellies. Some stood tall with arms that nearly touched the ground. But all of them turned their heads toward Emma and Frank. The tallest one in the road, the one Frank called the first one, lifted its hand slightly, like it was commanding them. And they obeyed. Emma grabbed Frank's arm. "We have to leave, now." Frank didn't move. He stared at the creatures spreading across the parking lot, slowly forming a half-circle around them. "We can't outrun them," he whispered. "Not on foot." "What do we do then?" Frank's eyes darted to a rusty white truck parked at the far end of the lot. "That one still works. I can hotwire it." Emma nodded. "Okay, let's go." A creature dropped from the roof behind them with a heavy thud. Emma screamed as it crawled toward them, long fingers scraping the pavement like nails across a chalkboard. Frank swung the flashlight, hitting it hard. The creature recoiled, but didn't fall. It straightened its twisted neck and hissed. "Run!" Frank shouted. They sprinted across the lot. The blue glow of the motel's flickering sign cast broken shadows across the ground, shadows of the creatures crawling toward them from every direction. Emma and Frank reached the truck. Frank jumped into the driver's seat, pulling wires from beneath the dashboard. "Keep the light on them. They hate bright light." Emma shined the flashlight around wildly, aiming at anything that moved. Each creature backed away from the beam, hissing, their pale skin rippling like it was burning. The engine coughed. Once. Twice. Not starting. "Frank, please." "I'm trying, Emma." The creatures were gathering now, closing the circle around the truck. They moved like a swarm, bodies twitching, heads tilting, eyes completely black. Behind them, the motel stood silent, like a dead thing watching the scene unfold. The engine coughed again, sputtered, and roared to life. "Yes," Frank shouted. "Go!" Emma screamed. He hit the gas. The truck shot forward, wheels screeching on the pavement. A creature leaped at the door, slamming into it so hard the metal dented inward. Emma kicked it away, the flashlight beam burning its skin like acid. The truck tore through the line of creatures, scattering them like broken dolls. But as they reached the road, Emma saw something in the rearview mirror. The tallest shadow stood in the center of the lot, watching them. Then it lifted its arms, and the ground around the motel began to shift. "Frank," Emma whispered. "What's happening?" Frank looked. The motel's foundation was cracking. The vending machine flipped over. The asphalt broke apart like something massive was underneath. Then, a huge, dark pit opened in the center of the parking lot. A pit shaped exactly like a well. The same well the motel had been built over. Long, bony arms climbed out of it. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Creatures poured from the opening like insects escaping a nest. Emma choked back tears. "They are everywhere." Frank shook his head. "No, they are coming for you." Emma stared at him. "Why me?" Frank didn't look away from the road. "Because you saw the first one. Once it lets you see it, you belong to it." Emma's chest tightened. "Frank, slow down." He didn't. He stepped harder on the gas. "Frank, what are you doing?" He turned to her, eyes filled with a sadness she didn't understand. "I'm sorry, Emma. I can't let them leave this land. If they get out, if they spread, more people will die. So many more." Emma's voice cracked. "Frank, no." But Frank wasn't slowing. He was accelerating. Straight toward the deep ditch where Route 66 had broken apart decades ago. Emma grabbed the wheel. "Frank, stop." Frank held her back with one arm. His voice shook. "It's the only way. I can keep them here, if I keep you here." Emma froze. "You knew," she whispered. "You knew they would follow me." He nodded. "I'm sorry." The creatures were rushing closer behind them, filling the road, running faster than human legs should move. Emma screamed, trying to push Frank away, but the truck was already lifting off the road edge, when a loud bang exploded behind them. The truck jerked sideways as a creature slammed into it at full speed, knocking it away from the drop. Emma grabbed the wheel. Frank was thrown forward, and the truck spun out of control. It crashed into a dead tree, metal crunching, glass shattering. Silence. Emma crawled out of the broken window, coughing. Her arm was bleeding, her vision blurry. Frank lay unconscious beside the truck. Then she heard footsteps. Slow ones. She looked up. The tallest shadow stood a few feet away. Behind it, the others gathered, forming a circle around her just like before. Emma tried to crawl backward, but the tallest creature leaned down slowly, its face inches from hers. For the first time, she saw it clearly. Its eyes were hollow pits. Its mouth was stitched into a permanent smile. Its skin looked burned and cracked like desert clay. It lifted one long finger and pointed directly at Emma's chest. Emma's heartbeat thundered. The creatures stepped closer, and the tallest one whispered, voice cracked and ancient, "Welcome home."